He keeps the church's voice in front of lawmakers. Jim Driscoll addresses political issues such as respect for life and social concerns with state legislators as the head of the Massachusetts Catholic Conference. He addresses the issues that Massachusetts Catholics and their bishops want input on. Jim says his love for the Catholic faith means a lot to him in his current job. Terry Hegarty traveled to Beacon Hill and spoke with him about his role in this very important effort.
Jim Driscoll can't get enough of Beacon Hill. A lawyer by profession and a resident of Scituate, Massachusetts, he worked for the state of Massachusetts in a variety of capacities for decades. But last year, he decided to incorporate his faith into his work as he began as the executive director of the Massachusetts Catholic Conference, the public policy voice of the 4 bishops of Massachusetts.
The position of executive director of the Catholic Conference is so important. It's the way I was brought up, the principles that the Catholic Church lives under and teaches is how I grew up as a young child and how I've taught my children. And I could, I think having a lawyer in the position, which I am, is a perfect mix for me.
Jim started in the job last spring following the unexpected death of Edward Saunders in 2010. Jerry DeVolio, who served in a position for many years previously, showed Jim the ropes initially. Jim grew up as a Catholic and is now charged with articulating the Catholic Church's public policy issues in Massachusetts.
The Catholic Church and my faith and my family's faith has been the core of my life. I grew up in a family of strong Catholics. I was one of 7 children, and my parents, kept reminding us over and over as children how important the Catholic Church was and how important faith was.
The teachings of the Church are just as important today, Jim says, even if the Church may have lost some influence in the public discourse over the last several years.
It may have diminished a little, but we have to continue to work at it. We have to continue to send the message of the Church's teachings. Not everyone's going to be with us on everything, but I think it's important to have a voice up here because it affects the people in the pews.
The Massachusetts Catholic Conference represents the more than 1.3 million Catholics in the Bay State. Keeping the Church's public policy voice strong will keep Jim and his staff very busy, but he says it's a good busy because he loves his faith and his work. He says that his work includes being knowledgeable about a great many things.
It's going to be my job to get the message both to the Senate, the House, and the leadership, then back to the people that we are interested in a lot of issues. And I have to communicate that through the parishes and to make sure that we're going to be talking about issues like families and immigration and health care.
Considering the separation of church and state, Jim says there is plenty of room for the voices of concerned Catholics in the political arena.
There should be separation between church and state, but there is a point where both interests intersect. Just take funding for homeless shelters or funding for children who don't have a home to go to. The church's mission, or one of the missions, is to help people, and that's what we're involved in.
The Mass Catholic Conference also is responsible for presenting the concerns of the Church to the people through news releases and position papers. Jim meets with the Massachusetts bishops regularly to keep up to date on their concerns. He then brings those concerns to the State House, relating them to lawmakers. Issues that the Catholic Church and the state are currently working on include physician-assisted suicide and the threat to the religious liberty of all posed by the Obama administration's health care initiative. Reporting for Reel to Reel, this is Terry Hegarty.